Okay, so let's talk about how to set up a class in Lesson Launchpad. To do that, you're going to go over here to the left navigation and click on the Add Edit button. And from here, you'll see that I've already got one class in there. That's called this sample class. That's the class we were just looking at on the present screen there. Now, you can either delete this class by clicking here, or, there is some information on this screen, that you may want to read, or you may want to look at the different types of boxes here. Um, so if you don't want to delete that, but you don't want it to necessarily appear in your classes, you can edit this to be inactive. So to edit a class, you can click this edit button and it'll pop up a screen that looks like this. And we're just going to uncheck the active box there. And then we'll click save. And now you see it looks the same, except now we have an X over here on the active column. So it's not going to appear in our present classes. You see we have no classes there. So let's go ahead and create a new class. So we'll click the Add Class button here. Um, and sure, I'll just go with the example here, 7th grade band. I'm a former band director, so a lot of the things in Lesson Launchpad um, were kind of geared towards band classes, but I think any type of class can take some benefits from the features of Lesson Launchpad. So we'll go ahead and call it first period. This must be one between 1 and 4 characters, and that's because it'll appear small over here when the navigation is in its little condensed state there. Um, so here you have some more options. We have the marquee and the clock. I already showed you what active does. That just makes it not appear in your active classes. The marquee is the scrolling announcements at the top. And I tend to say scrolling announcements, but you can use the marquee for whatever you want to. You might put your objectives there. Whatever you want to use it for, you can set that up. You can change the speed of the marquee in the settings. In fact, I'll just go ahead and show you how to do that by clicking on settings right here. Um, and so you'll see right here the marquee speed. Uh, Once again, these are musical terms, but Largo would be very slow, a little bit faster, a little bit faster, fast, very fast. And then if you just want it to freeze and not move at all, you can click this none button. Obviously, whatever you put in that marquee would need to fit there for that to make sense. So you can explore that as you want to. By the way, there's some other little features here. This display seconds on clock. If you want to have your clock turned on, um, and you want the seconds to show, you can set that to on. If you don't want it to show seconds and just show hours and minutes, you can set that to off. So back to our class here, and I'm going to have to restart, but 7th grade band, it's already in there for us. And then first period. So I'm going to leave all these checked for now. And let's talk about start time and end time. So I'll be honest, end time does not currently do anything in Lesson Launchpad. You can put in an end time if you want to, but it doesn't do anything. The start time, however, does do something. And so this can be whatever time your class actually starts, or it can be the time that the previous class ends and the passing period in between those classes starts. And what that's going to do, if you set it to that earlier time, is Lesson Launchpad contains a feature called Auto Navigate. And so, whatever time you set for the start time, as long as you're on the present screen of another class, Lesson Launchpad will automatically transition to that next class. And so, for example, let's say a class ends at 8:45 and the next class starts at 8:50. Well, you might set the start time for that next class to be 8:45 even though it doesn't start until 8:50 because you want that next class screen to show up at 8:45 so that way as the kids come into that class, they can already see what you're doing for that class. Their announcements, their content, their bell work, all that sort of thing can already be on the screen. So that's how the start time works. We're just going to go ahead and set this to nice little 8 a.m. since it's our first class. Um, and currently we have our schedule set up for just a very, typical sort of setup. We're going to have the same classes every day. They're going to meet at the same time. But if your schedule is different than that, and a lot of them are, you can click this Need Different Scheduling Options button, and that'll take you to the settings where you can set all of that up. And we'll go over all that later in this video. I don't want to overcomplicate things here in the beginning. So here's our class, 7th grade band, first period. We're going to click Save. And now you'll see we have another class here, and it's got our class days, our start time, all of that. We'll go over some of these other things later in the video. So if we go back to our Present Classes screen here, now we see we have our 7th grade band class. So we can go ahead and click on that, and you'll see we're presented with the present screen where we have our scrolling announcements marquee up here. We've got our clock because we left that turned on. And we already have a text editor content box just by default that's in there, okay? And I'll show you all the content boxes later in this video.